$3 million off of AI songs to AI beats. $3 million.
Signing an AI artist sounds insane because how do you sign an AI artist? Who is getting this payment, right?
The music sounds like AI. The visual branding looks like AI. It's all like stock. Good morning. Oh, it's not morning for everyone. What's up, music entrepreneurs? False start. Welcome back to the Music Entrepreneur Podcast, where we talk it because we talk and we live it, so we give it. I keep messing that up. The second part is true. Oh, actually, both parts are true. It's just not eloquent. Appreciate you tuning in for another episode. Dame is not here. Dame's a new father. I can't imagine waking up at 7 for a podcast when I have a brand new human in the house. How are you feeling, Erinn?
I feel great. Yeah, my heart goes out to Dave because it's like he has to wake up super early in the morning, but he's probably up all night with the baby, him and his wife. So shout out to them. I know he said he's not feeling that well, but I'm assuming that not sleeping isn't helping that. So yeah, shout out to Dame. He'll be back soon, hopefully.
So if I were Dame, I'd be saying, "What's up, y'all? It's time for the weekly wins." So Erinn, what are your wins for the week?
I'm just feeling really enthused and energized about my personal direction. I feel like, it's on me. I have to double down and do the work. I have to be disciplined and I have to show up in all aspects of my life, not just in my business, like in my personal life. I've been challenged to take it to another level health-wise, just been challenged like spiritually to like go to another level of sacrifice and like not just be here just for me and what I want and what I'm doing. And I think I'm a sacrificial person to a degree, but I think everybody has to call their own cards sometimes. And so that's my win, is that I'm showing up and being accountable to the process. I'm being accountable to the people around me. And it's making me excited about where I'm going, because I feel like as a business owner, every time I've leveled up in maturity, and that's what I think. I feel like the more accountable I am, the more mature I am. So I feel like every time I've leveled up in maturity, great things have happened. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, my win is similar. I know traditionally September is a weird month now it's October, but September is a weird month for beat sales. And, they have been slower, but what has made me feel happy is that I've always been one of those people that when there's a drought, I'm preparing for rain and vice versa. So I had created all of these additional revenue streams for myself, which is what I encourage producers to do. It's kind of a double-edged sword because like you go and create all these additional revenue streams and it takes you from actually the core of what you want to do. So if the core of what I want to do is make hit songs, then doing all this extra stuff over here, that even though it's complementary, like I'm not talking about doing stuff outside of music, but many little tiny endeavors that pay this kind of royalty stream or this monthly fee or whatever it is, they come in handy when there's a drought. And when it rains, you want to collect that water for the drought. So I'm feeling proud of myself for being so absolutely neurotic about finances, just because this, my friend who's not in the music business was like, so is it like feast or famine? And this was back during the pandemic. I'm like, no, it's all feast. Everything's stable. But no, sometimes it is like feast or famine. And so you got to store some food up. That being said, speaking of that dynamic, that gives me a lot of anxiety. You wanted to talk about something that causes you anxiety.
Well, just in general, I want to talk about creative angst. I know a lot of times moving into the colder months, just in general, people get angsty, but especially as creatives, because it's like you start to, I think a lot of times, at least for me in my experience, even with artists, everybody is outside when it's warm. That's just human nature, but also the way that the industry flows. So there's like all sorts of festivals, fun stuff to engage with. You're in the studio with your homies. The sun's out for longer, so you just feel more present with places. And then as, daylight savings is approaching us, it's about to get chilly. Some places it's already cold. I live between two very warm places, so I don't experience, it's still pretty warm right now. But I think that it's important to go ahead and start preparing for what you are going to experience and anticipate, but also to do it in a thoughtful, meaningful way so that as you start to hit that angst, you have a process to move through. And so for me, I felt very present with this because I'm going to therapy today, and I'm going to talk to my therapist about it again, about how encouraged I am with where I am. But I think that part took preparation, and it required me to say, okay, I can't get lazy or self-deprecating, or I can't get into these weird modes as I go into the fall. And I know there's a lot of grace for me, there's a lot of space to process and to be more somber or moody because it's cold, but I also don't want to get stuck in this like, woe is me, what is life, just because I'm not seeing the manifestation of things that I've poured into. So I just want to encourage other people with just a few tips and tricks going into the fall. But before I do that, Payne, I want to ask, do you experience that? I'm not even talking about seasonal depression, because I've experienced seasonal depression as well, because I need a lot of sun. I come from sunny states, and I sit in the sun all the time. My complexion requires a lot of sun. So like, do you feel the same thing? Not seasonal depression, but maybe like more angst as it gets cold and you're like indoors more with less people?
Oh yeah, but my depression traditionally never made any exceptions for weather. But I'm in an incredibly harsh winter climate. This cat, I swear to God. Speaking of harsh climates, if you don't get in the gut, anyway, I talk to my cat like an abusive parent sometimes. Let me not expose myself on this podcast. Get your fat ass up here. Look at him. This is the guy that derails my entire life. My
Wait,
entire
he
life.
was way smaller. Like, he's gotten big, huh?
Yeah, he's
Or was
fat
that not one of
now.
the kittens?
I got him when he was. They didn't know how old he was when I got him. He was a rescue. He was living in the street.
Okay.
He does weird street cat shit like bury food in dirt that doesn't exist. But okay. Anyway, so what depresses me about the winter is that I have to shovel. Honestly,
Mm.
I honestly since, especially since the mandated lockdowns, I've just been used to being isolated. And when I was on a mandated lockdown for those couple years, I had people living in my house with me, and that wasn't a healthy dynamic. So I think the opposite actually happens to me, where I think, okay, this is fine because now I have more of a reason to stay inside and work. And, that probably means I have a toxic relationship with work because I just want to isolate myself and get things done or feel accomplished musically. Otherwise, then I start getting, a little bit down on myself. So it's kind of the opposite. But I think I'm not normal. I think most people, especially artists who can't be out socializing, and for whom art is more of a social endeavor and creation is more of a collaborative process, which it can, it absolutely should be, and it is, and I can still do that in the winter because I have friends around. But that affects most people harder, and I understand. I understand why.
I think that's good insight. Thank you for sharing that, because I don't want to generalize this. I do think that I tend to be more of a I'm a social engineer in general. Like, I work in social spaces. I'm introverted, but, I love people. So like, I cannot recharge with people. I can't be around people constantly, but I do love long, deep, intimate conversations with like one or two people. And when I'm not getting that, or when I'm not getting the ability to kind of bounce around to social stuff and then go back and retreat at home, when everything's just like a home retreat, after a while, I start to be like, man, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, am I being effective? Is anything that I'm doing matter? You know, you just kind of get in the echo chamber. And I know a lot of friends that I know, a lot of people that I collaborate with, a lot of artists that I've worked with kind of get into that same thing as it gets colder. So I just want to give a few tips and tricks for people who are experiencing this. One is to stay connected. Like, just because you're not necessarily going outside as much, be intentional about reaching out to people and then either inviting them over to your space, going to meet at like a common space, or even just like doing virtual hangouts. I know that a lot of people don't want to be on Zoom all the time and it's not the most ideal. But even I know friends who have started podcasts just so that they could have conversations around topics. It's nothing big. It's not like a huge thing. It's just to challenge them to do a little bit of research and bring their thoughts to a conversation, whether it be about sports or music or whatever. It could be just like a fun challenge to educate yourself. Doing lock-ins. This is another way that I found just to stay connected. Just being like, yo, let's just lock in and work on a creative project for 48 hours and see what happens, right? And y'all could either be together in the same space or just be focused on the same thing and be sharing things back and forth. But yeah, my first tip is to stay connected. My second one is to create a goal. So if you're like, okay, in the next 90 days, or again, it's still pretty warm in most places. Most people are thinking about fall fits or like, oh, what am I going to do? Traveling. I know a lot of people are starting to travel right now. I would say create a goal, and it could be like a mindfulness goal. It could be a business goal. It could be like, I want to be more connected with myself so that in my next 90 days, I can work on a project that actually is extremely intuitive and not just focused around gaining something for business. Or it could be, I want my business to go to another level, so I'm going to spend the next 90 days learning this skill. If you think about the next course of your life over 30, 60, and 90 days, it becomes a lot more bite-sized than I got to do this by the end of the year. Because I know that's a lot of people, when it starts to get cold, people start to scramble. I got to do this by the end of the year. And it's like, I don't like the calendar that we're on, and I'm not going to speak to my personal beliefs about it much, but I will say that I don't think that most things are supposed to be born during the dead of winter. So our new year starting during the dead of winter makes zero sense to me, and I don't think you should feel the pressure to just be this incredible new person by January 1. I do think that setting goals around 30, 60, and 90 days. Specifically for me, I do it around 90 days. I'm not a hugely goal-oriented person, but I see myself evolve like every 90 days. So I'd say set a goal. So 1, stay connected. 2, set a goal. And then 3, have some form of accountability. I would say have at least 2 or 3 forms. That's part of the stay connected. It kind of goes back into it. If you have somebody that you can connect to that can be like, hey man, hey sis, hey whoever, like, have you done this thing, or like, what's that looking like? I think you could be accountable to even making a video. You could post it on social or just keep it in your phone and heart it. You could get a brand new journal right at the top of it, these are my goals. Number 1 is to stay connected. Number 2 is to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to check back in this amount of days. That's another form of accountability. I wrote a book a couple years ago. It's called How to Be Excellent, A Beginner's Guide to Achieving the Unbelievable. It's free on the Kindle app still. It's $5 if you get it on Amazon, or you can download it on Audible. I actually narrate it, but I talk about accountability and different forms of accountability in it. It's a really short read. It'll take you maybe 30 minutes to listen to it, 25 minutes to read it or so. But I think it's important to have different levels of accountability and different types of accountability, and the type of esteem that you get once you mark something off and you keep going, the better. So I would try out some new form of planning and stay accountable to that. So those are my 3: stay connected, have a goal, and be accountable to it, or to someone. But yeah, as we get into the fall, and again, for me as a creative, who has so many ambitions and can't be outside as much. There's not as much sun. The days seem shorter. It's darker a lot more. And then all that's going on in the world, a lot of times we're like, yo, does my life mean anything? What am I doing? Yo, don't, pull your head out of the hole or out of your ass. Sometimes it's both for me. And, do something different. Try something new. And I'm not even talking about set this grandiose goal. You could if you want to, but I'm just saying keep it simple and try something new.
You want to know what's interesting? It's such a coincidence. So sometimes I feel like I'm going through some stuff in real life, and then I go on the podcast, and either you or Dame make a statement, or your entire topic is centered around a conversation I just recently had, or something I was dealing with yesterday. God bless him. I'm trying to get my backyard right for my birthday month. And so my best friend, who now kind of lives near me, who's also a multi-platinum producer himself, came back and was helping me with stuff. So we got to chatting a lot. And one of the things we decided, actually, we went to the gym together too. So it's been an ongoing conversation. One of the things we decided was we wanted to create like a lock-in scenario, what you were describing, where, there was no reason not to. If like the whole point of me, like I didn't build my house, but I, furnished it, etc., with the express idea that I'd be having people come by and locking in. It's like, and I have a couple of times, like Ted does it sometimes. Synchro came out and did it, but I wanted way more people to come in. And like, I bought my house in 2018. It was ready in 2019, and you know what happened then. So there was not much travel. And then I feel like culture kind of changed after that. Now you're seeing producers do, these, like Kavri does these production houses where he goes to Atlanta and rents some beautiful modern mansion, and everyone's there just working. I was like, I wanted that in my house. So now my friend and I are working on like a bi-monthly lock-in where we just work and we have a very specific goal. But then yesterday, his whole thing with me, so he's one of those people that needs someone external, like an external source of accountability. So he was talking to me about that stuff too. So when you were just talking, I'm like, damn, Erinn's like narrating my life right now. Yeah, and I love the lock-in model. You get so much done because you're just there working. That's how, anytime Ted's out here, that's how we get, 5 to 10 songs done in like a week, or, 10 beats done with some producer that, I might not even have a great dynamic with them because it's a newer collaborative opportunity. But when you're locked in with people, the accountability is already there because the person's like, what are we doing? And I'm one of those people too. Like, I don't have super bad ADHD where I can sit and make beats all day, but all the people I collaborate with are like, wow, let's go somewhere. Don't you want to do something? And they'll be coming up with wild shit like, let's go to the batting cages. Like, you don't even play baseball. I know. I just want to get up and do something. So I don't know. I'm weird because I'm more than
that. Just like, let's just do something random.
Yeah. Yeah. Me, I'm like, no, let's make like 12 more beats. We got another 5 hours. So I'm a weirdo.
Okay, so Payne is encouraging everybody to do a lock-in. If you don't know what a lock-in is, it's where you can do them virtually. I've actually seen I've seen a virtual writing camp that was like locked in like that, and they required everybody to keep their camera on, and it was actually super effective. Actually, one of the most lucrative syncs I've ever gotten for an artist came out of that camp. But a lock-in is basically where you go to somebody's house, or you go, when I was coming up, we'd go to a rec center or a church, and literally we'd just be up all night playing games, listening to music, whatever. But a lock-in as adults, especially in the music industry, typically you go to a place with a goal. Like, I did a lock-in with some friends like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we were just my friend owns an artist retreat, so we were at his artist retreat space. It's me, him, and another friend. We're planning a new culinary experience that we're launching actually this month in Atlanta, and so we were there, I think 16 hours. Originally we said let's have a 2-hour meeting, and then I got there, I was like, I think we'll be here for about 10 hours, and then everybody started laughing. They're like, okay, we can commit to 10 hours, and then we were there for 16. So it was actually really fascinating. We stayed up all night, worked through it. We had different prompts and different stuff, but when we got in, we started with a goal. So sometimes if you want to use the lock-in model, you can do all three of those things in one. You're staying connected, you set a group goal and kind of a process to walk through, and then you use the group as your accountability. And I think even setting things to be accountable to, milestones, timing, all of that can happen in one place. So, maybe you say, hey, homie, let's lock in October. You can come to my house. In November, I'm going to come to your house. In December, we'll find another location, or maybe we'll go to the woods, or we'll go on a quick camping trip or whatever, something that's low key. It doesn't have to be expensive. And by the end of December, we want to have this, we want to do this in January. And then in February, we want to start rolling stuff out. Doing it as a duo or even as a group of 3 or 4 people is super helpful. And maybe it just starts with 2 people and then you branch out more. But I would encourage people, create for the sake of creating. Sometimes people feel like they gotta have, we gotta go triple platinum with this. Like, I keep telling my friends who we locked in with, about the culinary experience, I'm like, if nothing comes from this, just the practice of the creativity together with new people and creating things is something that I really value. I think the older that I get, the practice of creativity and art and things like that has become even increasingly more valuable to me. I think sometimes we get down on ourselves and don't enjoy art anymore because we're like, this got to get us out the hood, or this got to make us all sorts of money. And it's like, I think my ideas are priceless, as LaRussell would say. And I think that they're going to turn into a lot of things, and they already have. But at the same time, sometimes creating just for the sake of art is a really beautiful thing, and for the sake of connection, just to be like, man, I'm human, I'm here living, I'm brilliant, and I'm being able to share my brilliance with other people, and we're creating new things that never existed before this. So yeah, maybe the goal is just to have fun, just to blow off steam, just to reconnect with your inner child, or just to be like, damn, I'm great, and I needed to be reminded around a lot of other people.
You know what I've been encouraging a lot of producers to do? Because a lot of producers have all these accountability problems and all these systems problems with systematizing their creativity and their business, and just all the processes that they need in order to start building momentum for themselves. Because a lot of the producers I consult with want this to become a business, but they're also aware it's going to take some time. Now, how do you get started? How do you systematize all that? And speaking of accountability and locking in, not everyone can do that with another person. And so you were talking about solo lock-ins, and something that I love, and I think more producers should realize this is that your process is valuable, but it also can feel like you're completely isolated just doing this on an island. And so a great way to hold yourself accountable, get extra value from your process, even if, as you said, even if not everything works out, is simply, and not all producers are going to want to do this, but it's going to help you in a third way, because it's going to help get you into the content game, which producers want to do, but they've run out of ideas for. The easiest way is to just document what you're doing. If you're a producer and you're like, I need to make 30 beats in the next 30 days, live stream some of it. I've seen producers do the 30 beats in 30 days challenge, and it's all filmed, and they're not getting a bunch of views necessarily, but it's documented, and it gives them accountability, and it gets them into the habit of creating content, and it reinforces their need to create regularly, and it helps them refine their process because they know eyes are on them. So I think that can help a lot of folks. I don't know how it will work with an artist or a manager or something. Could they do a live stream equivalent? Yeah, artists could, but a lot of artists don't want their art out there for the public. Producers don't either, but I think we have to get over that, because people are going to steal if they want to steal, and people are going to appreciate if they want to appreciate. Suno's stealing it anyway.
Ain't that the truth? And Meta is feeding it straight to them. I think that's also a really cool idea because you can do it as a group. It may be 30 beats in 30 days with my crew. And it's like, today, da-da-da's doing a beat. And now y'all are, 3 or 4 of y'all are just reposting that. And then the next day, and then maybe it's like, hey, I challenge my friend. You already know it's coming, but it's like, hey, I challenge my friend. Da-da-da. And now you have, okay, now the 3 or 4 of y'all are, and that's an idea right there. If you have 3 or 4 producers, maybe y'all aren't in the same city, you're like, yo, let's just go on a run for 30 days and see if the 4 or 5 of us, and it could be beats y'all have already made and you just really want to show off to people, but now you have 3 or 4 other people reposting your beat. And then you could be like, hey, tag yourself if you want to be included in the challenge. Now you're creating community. That's a really cool way. And then you're like, okay, well, I challenged da-da-da. And now you only had to make 4 beats in the month or show off 4 beats, but now you have content, you're creating community. And I think this is a great place to plug your community, Pain, because this is another group of people that you could be accountable to. You could be, talking to people like, yo, I really just want to put out 5 more beats this month, or I want to post 2 or 3 more times this month. It doesn't have to always be like, I'm trying to post every day for 30 days. Like, it's about you just doing better. I was telling a friend this the other day. She's like getting into exercising more, and she's like, I just need to do this, this, and this. I was like, the biggest change in my health came in like, I think 2021, 2022, when I just told myself, I just need to go to the gym 1 more day than I did last month. Right. And that switch versus I got to go 3 or 4 times this week. I was like, oh, just 1 more. Okay, last month I went 3 times the whole month. So if I just go 4, I win. And I think that next month I went like 14 times, right? So then it was like, oh, okay, that's not that bad, because like it excited me because I'm like, I just got to go 1 more time. And sometimes I would only go for 10 or 15 minutes. But sometimes because I used to not go, not 10, but 15 minutes. Like I would do 15-minute quick little workouts, because sometimes I wouldn't go because I'd be like, damn, I'm only going to have 20 minutes to work out, 30 minutes to work out. It's not worth it. And then I push it. And then you end up at the end of the month only working out 3 days. So then it was like 15 minutes. But then I ended up the next month, I only went 15 times, 1 more time, because I was just trying to beat that goal. But every time my average time going was 45 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? And so even now I'm looking at myself since I was in high school, and then even looking cardiovascularly, I'm the healthiest that I've been since high school. I'm like only a handful of pounds away from where I was in high school. But that was from 2021 to now 2025, just being like, I just got to be a little bit better than I was last month. And that's why I tell people to think 30, 60, or 90 days. Because if you're thinking, by next year, I'm going to look like this, I'm going to do this. Same thing with producing beats, same thing with releasing music. As a manager, even for me, I'm not a manager anymore, but even for me with content, lately I've just been challenging myself. Like, I just got to post more. So I've just been accepting hella collab posts, not because I'm looking to be a social media influencer, but it's because like my followers grow daily and I want to steward that well. I want to say like, man, it's an honor. Like, a lot of people have to work really hard to grow their following, but I'm outside and meeting people so much. They're so naturally curious about me that they want to go follow me. At least I could feed that a little bit. So I would say, 1, tap in with Pain's community, especially if you're a producer. But I feel like it'd be really smart if you were an artist. Imagine being an artist in a producer community. You have access to so many beats, so many producers. You're understanding how these producers work. People are always like, I don't know where to get stuff from. There may be a producer that's right down the street from you or close to you in Pain's community and you have no idea. So I would say even artists, maybe check it out. It's really inexpensive. It's on Patreon. Pain is dropping a ton of tips and he's talking a lot of practicality. It's not just necessarily heavily, I don't know. I'm not in there. It's not heavy.
No, but you know what is
but I think there's
interesting?
a lot of practicality.
This is more synchronicity. One of the members of the Patreon I had a call with 2 days ago, and he had just, his thing was systematizing his process and creating an accountability system for himself. And he was telling me about, being in the gym and how he just injured his toe and all this other, or his foot. Actually, I injured my toe. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's look at this all from the lens of you getting fit and committing to the gym. Because if you're a producer, if you're any type of creative, and you've done any sort of fitness journey, anything that requires that level of discipline, dieting, anything like that, if you've changed one of those fundamental habits, oh, then this music shit is nothing. If you can go to the gym 3 times a week, you can finish 3 beats in a week. No problem. You just have to apply similar habit forming, because you wake up, man, and I went through this myself. When I didn't want to work out, especially after the first week when your body's sore because everything's so new and you have to do it again the following week. You don't want to do that. If you can get over that, you can get over any kind of creative hump in the music business. Anything.
Yeah, it's all mental, and especially because your body is so, that's the thing that you feel the most. I'm saying this because it's funny. The reason that I'm healthier is because I started doing the gym stuff, and then I started really looking at what I was putting in my body. And so, like, I think I've always been like health conscious when it comes to food, because that's the way that I grew up. My mom was like, no candy. She didn't let us drink soda. You know, we didn't do dyes and stuff like that. But you know, when you get older, you let that go. I think the older that I got, I thought I was like healthy, and it's like, you know, living in this society, you could be eating stuff that you think is healthy and it's not. So for me, I don't work out nearly as much as I did in 21, 22, even 23. And that's what I'm getting back to. That's what kind of what I was alluding to at the beginning. It's just like, I'm trying to transform my whole life and be accountable to that. I'm like, I got to start working out more, because I have seen so many loss in a good way in my life and in my health, and so many gains health wise, because I just committed to like caring for my body with what I put in my mouth, right? So now I'm like, if I could get back to like just saying, okay, I got to go to the gym just one more time this month than I did last month. If I could do that more, in addition to the way that I eat now, the way that I fast, the amount of water, the types of water that I drink, the types of supplements that I take, I'm like, if I could add now back into that. And I think that's what people get thrown off about. It's like, you have a really good streak for a long time, and instead of honoring that, you go into like this shame, or like, well, I used to, and I don't. If you gained 100 pounds, cool. You've lost it before. Why not? And now, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you went on a streak and you were killing it, if you were an artist, if you were a producer, if you were whatever, and you've been it before, yes, it is tougher a lot of times to regain the same type of momentum, but energetically, you already know what it takes. So why not just celebrate that part and be like,
Yeah.
oh, I just got to lean in now, versus feeling the shame or the frustration that you got to do it again. It's kind of like knowing that you know how to, like chess. My little nephew just started playing chess. And so I'm like, oh, I got to learn how to play chess again. I know how to play the game. I just can't remember how to play. But
Yeah.
he's 3 and he's in Montessori, and I want to whoop his ass for the next 5 or 6 years. So I got to learn how to play again, because he's going to be he's already savant level genius.
You're like
He's
my
going to be
parents. That's how, man.
He's going to be killing us. So like, even he plays T-ball. I started watching YouTube videos to learn the rules, because I want to whoop his ass. I want him to have real hard challenges. So he's not just good for a kid. When he gets good, he's insane. So I'm like, I know how to play chess. I just got to get back out there and learn it. I know how to go to the gym and work out a ton. So even this week, I started working like heavier weights than I've done in probably a year. And like the soreness that you're talking about, I'm feeling that literally right now. It was hard for me
Yeah.
to sleep last night because I was so sore. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, man, I know what this feels like. I know the benefit, and I can't wait to see the results.
And the other thing too is people know when they're starting to backslide too. So it's not just about knowing that you can do it. It's about knowing when you're about to fuck up. And accountability can be a positive reinforcement, and it can also be a negative avoidance. So you can use it for both. I think, obviously they say prevention is the best medicine too. So just monitor yourself. Like if people know, because they have these internal conversations all the time. You know what? I just don't feel like going to the gym today. I don't feel like making a beat today. I'll just, and then the next day, okay, I didn't make one yesterday, so what's another day? You know what you're about to do to yourself. You know exactly what you're about to do to yourself, because you've been there before. Because you've been there before, you can remember how badly you felt. So just stop.
If you buy the tin of cookies and you ate a cookie, my brother was basically telling me this earlier this week because I got something that I committed to not having anymore in my life, and he was like, "You could just throw it away." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I already opened it." And he was like, "That's cool." He was like, "I'm glad you enjoyed it, but like just throw it away." And I was like, "Damn." He's right. Like, I don't have to sit here and consume this thing until it's done and be like, okay, now tomorrow I'm going to start again. It's like, yo,
Or put it in the freezer.
cool.
You got cookies
Maybe,
for months.
or give it to somebody.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I'm saying? In the freezer is crazy because if you already don't have the self-control, you may be stuck. But it's like, yo,
I
you
put
don't.
my cookies in the freezer
Oh, okay, that's
because
smart.
of that. Because of
Yeah,
that.
because then it gets like super crunchy. You got So it's like if you are like falling off the horse, and I know that's another thing. People are like, oh, well, I fell off the horse today. So then you use that to be off the horse for the next 30 days, and you got to fight that. You fell off the horse today. Tonight you're getting back on. You know what I'm saying? It's just reframe your thinking, friends. I think there's a lot to be done this fall, this winter. There's no time like the present because we're not getting younger. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. This shit may not be here next year. So why not lean in right now and be the best version of yourself? And you know who gets the benefit of you being the best version of you? First you, and then everybody around you. And then the world at large gets to partake in that. So enjoy. But go out and be the greatest version. Because you could just sit in your room and self-loathe and be like, I could, I should, I would. Or you could.
You just got me kind of messed up in the head because you said tin of cookies. If you had just said cookies, that's different. But I know exactly what tin cookies taste like. They're real buttery and flaky.
Man.
And anyway,
Hey,
so I want to.
you understand.
I do. So let me change the subject before my mind goes back to and I can see the blue color of the tin and everything and like the little. Anyway, Xania Monet, you're familiar?
Yeah, the AI thing that got a bunch of money recently.
Yeah. So two things. You know, it's a real person behind it. She is a poet. She's from the South. I don't know if she went to college for writing. I don't know what she got her degree in, but maybe. And shout out to JP. He knows her personally, and so I was seeing stuff like this. He shared me this screenshot. In addition to, everyone's reporting $3 million off of AI songs to AI beats, $3 million, and the human behind the AI just signed a publishing deal with APG, which is, that's Artist Publishing Group. That's big. The other thing is she has created a virtual, what are we calling this? An avatar for herself. And so this is Talisha Jones. She's the woman behind the lyrics and the curation of the artist Xania Monet. This all happened very quickly because this is July 8th that she's posting how she created. What she's calling it is a social media influencer. She created a social media influencer. And it seems like just a couple months later, there came this announcement that she signed for $3 million. And I have 1,000,001 questions about this because there's a lot I don't understand. I think someone else posed the question, why would anyone sign an AI curator when all that, like AI is based on stealing what's already there and then synthesizing it to something new? Why wouldn't a company just save their $3 million and steal from the person that's doing what they want to do themselves and are willing to pay for it? If everyone's stealing, why? You know what I mean? But then the other thing too is,
case.
Why wouldn't you just, like a group like an artist publishing group or the group that gave her the advance to sign the artist? Why wouldn't you just take the talented songwriters on your existing roster and say, all right, we're going to give you $100,000 instead of giving this other person $3 million. We're going to give you $100,000 to develop an artist that's actually human, that's on the roster as well. And we're going to give each of you $100,000 to do this within a year because you're already talented. You can make that happen. So we just spent 10% of what we were going to spend on real people, and we're going to get better results. There's so much I don't understand about this. I have more questions. What's your initial reaction to this?
So I think it's such an interesting case because this is the second, third, fourth, fifth time where it's like, oh, AI artist. And then you find out that it's actually a person behind it. So to me, it's like, there's a couple things that I think. For one, I think it showcases the value of a curator. Because if it was just about the AI, again, Suno is a public platform, whatever, and this is signed to a major label. So it's like, they could just input certain things and then be like, boom, why would we need to pay anybody? Because again, signing an AI artist sounds insane, because how do you sign an AI artist? Who is getting this payment, right? So that's why you're like, oh, it's got to go to a human being or a brand manager or, so I think that, obviously it's got to go to a human who's a brand manager, songwriter, whatever. So with this person creating a AI social media influencer, I think it's interesting because it shows like, okay, they're actually paying the curator. But two, it's very odd to me because it's almost like, I hate this. It's almost like a way to be like, hey, songwriters, if you're ugly or we're not into your aesthetic or we don't like the way that you come across on socials, we can just create an AI image and then just throw your music into, a synthesizer that gives us the most optimal version of your songs versus what you are bringing to the table. You know what I'm saying? Instead of
Well,
bringing in
that's
other
put a pin
co-writers
in
and
that,
stuff,
Erinn,
let's just throw it in to the AI. Yeah.
because that's why I showed Talisha's post where she said, look, I just created my influencer, and that influencer has a very specific look. Someone even commented, shit, make me some abs. And I'm like, so already you're creating this unrealistic beauty standard, which is one of those things that we've been talking about ad nauseum. I mean, since I was a child, and this predated my life, talking about unrealistic beauty standards. Nowadays, you don't have to get a real human model to starve herself and put on a bunch of makeup. You just create it with AI. And unfortunately, this is a woman behind this whole image, and I guarantee you she doesn't look like her avatar. And how does she reconcile that? That's, it gets deep. I looked at Howwood Media, and it says back in 2020, J.R. Rodham was on Howwood Media. Soundwave, Kendrick Lamar's engineer and producer, is on there. David Stewart's on there. There are a lot of, they say they handle the catalog sales for Jeff Basker. There are all kinds of talented humans on that label that could have done this at a higher level. And, no disrespect to Talisha, because very clearly the lyrics are resonating with people. And I love that you said that, Erinn, because curation is important for AI, human curation. And I want to end by tying this all up. But the lyrics are good because it's a poet behind the music. Obviously,
Wait, you think the lyrics are good? I haven't listened to any of it. I don't want to partake in it. But I thought when it first came out, people were saying it was like stupidity.
No, everyone that even people who might have a problem with it understand why. Like, I understand why it resonates with people, because it's a real woman's experience.
Got you.
And so it's raw and emotional. But the music sounds like AI. The visual branding looks like AI. It's all like stock. I don't think Talisha's the same as Timbaland in the regard that Timbaland's been using and refining his process with Suno for years, and he has all the insider information, and someone's helping him out. And obviously because he has an actual,
so much more music. Yeah.
Well, he has an actual position, and he's in the Suno world. He has a Suno name tag, so he really understands how to optimize it. but the vocals sound like existing artists, but they have that kind of fuzzy insectile quality that AI voices have, where it kind of sounds like you got phlegm in your throat, and it doesn't matter what you do, you can't get rid of that fuzziness. Does that mean that the singer is just using the stock settings? They might even be using a free account, because I feel like when you start paying for the newer versions, you can get rid of that fuzziness. Because Timbaland's artist, AI artist, doesn't have that fuzzy quality. There are a lot of, Suno power users that whose output doesn't sound like that. But it makes me wonder, because I listened to, sorry, Erinn, I listened to like 6 of the songs last night.
No, it's
And
fine. I mean, it's. I'm not judging. I'm just
it
saying
was
I just
research.
don't want to add to the noise. I don't want
No,
to
and
add to the
like
streams or any of that.
I didn't. Well, I listened specifically on YouTube and not Spotify, but it sounds like, because on Suno, what you can do is if you create a track that you like, you can just keep remixing it and inputting new lyrics and slightly altering it. And I feel like it feels like that's what she's doing. She might not be, but when I listened to everything, the beats were formulaic. The beat was, it's always piano, ballad, intro, very straightforward, straight drums, and then in the hook, the snare sound switches and there's more reverb on it and it's heavier so that it builds up. There's a crescendo and then it drops back down. The dynamic drops back down, but it's always piano, 4-chord turnaround, straight drums, build up on the hook. Because Suno has limits. You can't just type in a prompt like, hey, make the bridge more dynamic and add that's not how Suno works, at least not right now. And what's crazy to me, right, is, so back to Timbaland, right? His artist, Tata, right, has 2,000 Instagram followers. Her music is sonically better because Timbaland is a better Suno prompter. And, obviously, Timbaland is a more experienced producer, songwriter, whatever. The vocals sound realistic. They don't sound fuzzy. She doesn't sound like an insect. Xania Monet's songs sound like stock Suno outputs. And yet, her music is generating millions of dollars and getting all this attention and getting all these streams. And I think it's because Tata's lyrics are absolutely vapid, whereas Xania's are emotional and relatable and human. So, it's
And I
weird to
think it could
me.
all be marketing too. I'm not trying to like just cut it off, but it's like if Suno has it's one thing if Timberland has an artist who he signed and it's da 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 da, and people are already like F you Timberland. It's a whole nother thing to have like a random person create an AI artist and then quickly get signed and then quickly sign. Now Suno has a case to be like, you Suno, you don't even have to be, because remember that's what the owner or the founder of
Yeah.
Suno was like, anybody can make music. And everybody was like, wait, but we thought the purpose was to enhance music makers already. So for me, it almost seems like it perfectly times out. It's a part of probably their marketing rollout, to where it's like, okay, Timbaland, okay, cool. When he struck out, well, let's use this random person who never had a
Mm.
career in music. They create an AI artist, and in months they're signed for millions of dollars. Now they've got a publishing deal for millions of dollars. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like, I'm not, and I'm not even trying to be like a conspiracy theorist. I don't think it's a conspiracy, but it's like, it just
it's
seems like
plausible.
pretty apropos for it to happen this way. Because by the time Timbaland's artist rolled out, everybody hated him. Like Timbaland spent an entire lifetime building a career where people appreciated and loved him. And within literally 2 years, everybody's like, damn, you betrayed all of us, stole our music from the pandemic, and now you own part of Suno and you're just plugging in all of our shit. And instead of signing these artists that you have been listening to for the last 3 years, you decided to sign an AI, and however that works, and it's trash. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like this is like, you comparing it as almost like opposites seems very
Totally
appropriate.
opposite.
It's like they're playing both sides of the same coin. You know what I'm saying?
They are, but it's just, I understand that Timbaland, because I'm a detractor when it comes to the AI stuff. So I was, and I will continue to be critical of any producer, whether it's Timbaland, Will I Am, whoever. But it's just so weird to me that Timbaland had so much publicity because of this AI stuff. Everyone was talking about it, everybody, and for him to drop this artist, uh, uh, you know, song preview, and for it to get fewer views than what we normally get on our reels on Instagram, that's weird. I fully expected people, even people who wanted to hate watch the content, or people like me who were curious just to hear it. You mean to tell me there weren't more than 5,000 of us? And then all of a sudden, this random woman from Mississippi, or I think that's where she's from. Apologies if I got that wrong. Just starts using Suna, and it's kind of like a cute little story where it's like, here's this young woman that had no idea how AI worked. She can't make beats herself. She can write good poems, but she can't sing. And here she is, just using all of these little free AI tools, and now she's a multimillionaire. It's a great story. And I was wondering the whole time, I'm like, is this real? Is this, so maybe it's not, or maybe it's manufactured. I just don't understand, because like, we don't know what she did to make these
It could be
songs.
real for her too. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
she may not even know. Do you know what I'm saying? And it could be, who knows? I don't know. I don't want to, it just to me seems a little bit like, I work in marketing and not like marketing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh
Respectfully.
yeah. Well, like
Like,
when we
you know what I'm
had
saying?
that guy on with the whole trippy, that producer that there was that whole Trippy Red / MGK controversy surrounding. Brilliant marketing. I know Dame hated it,
And
but
then even the fact that he couldn't even fully say everything when
right.
he was getting interviewed by us, he was kind of like ambiguous about some stuff. I'm like, yeah. And to me, again, like, that's just a lightweight level of what you're saying. Like, that was just some social media shit. Do you not think
Mhm.
a multi-billion-dollar AI company who's backed by a ton of investors, who's trying out a lot of reckless shit and on the verge of getting sued, doesn't have several $1,000,000 to put into marketing?
Yeah, I mean, do you, do you think some of it's organic? I mean, because there are real people saying, "I love this music. This song made me cry," and I'm just like, but are you really listening to the voice? Are you really listening to the production? And people are like, "This is amazing." I'm like, no, it's not. And I'm not trying to take away. Look,
I
all I'm
mean,
saying
I could
is,
see people really enjoying it, but I also think it's like radio. If you put something in front of somebody for so long, they'll end up liking it because it's just stuck in their head. And then some people are just like, they're connected with different parts of it. Some people just want to be absurdist. But I even remember when like K-pop was massive, like when it was first blowing up in the States, like in the mid 2000s, right?
mm,
I did not get it. I still don't get a lot of the K-pop, Labubu, all this type of like fanfare about stuff. I do not understand the obsession that people, especially the human adults, have with it. Even, like the K-pop trend, it's not so much now, I guess, like over here, but you know how they pitch up their voices just slightly, and it's like this whole thing. It's not quite chickmunk, but it's like it's just slightly higher, especially with women. I don't get it, and people love it, and it's a whole thing. I'm talking, billions and billions and
oh yeah,
billions of dollars in streams. So I can't say sonically this is mediocre. Why do you like it? I feel like that's the world of music and preference. And I also think that people love things that are different, and they can't tell why. They're just like, this shit is different. I'm obsessed with it. And it's like, are you really? Or are you just obsessed with how unique it is?
Well, it's not unique, and I will say it's sonically mediocre, and I don't understand why people like it. But I do think it's because of the lyrics. And my thing with this is, all right, two companies that have an amazing roster of human musicians on it. I don't understand why you don't just look. So like you look at this Talisha Nikki Jones, and you say she's writing these lyrics and she's using Suno, and it's resonating with people because of the lyrics. We have a roster of singer songwriters and artists and engineers and producers. All right, we'll sign her because her writing is great. She can't sing, so she can't reference anything, but somebody else can. You know, because if you can connect, the amazing thing, and I'm going to give her the credit that I think she's due as a songwriter or as just a writer in general, the ability to, again, with music that I think sounds mediocre, it sounds like anyone using Suno for the first time typing in make an R&B song, here are the lyrics, push the button. You didn't really do shit except write the lyrics. So if you're going to write the lyrics, they better be good. And evidently her lyrics are great because they've captured the hearts of so many people to the point where she has millions of fans. Cool. Why maintain the mediocre AI output? I guess because it's already working, so why change it? And maybe there's a conspiracy where Suno's giving them money and be like, yo, you know, Suno's got 3 million. We're going to give it to this label. Why don't you just pretend like you're signing her to a label deal? That would be that's like book level conspiracy. Now I'm getting in deep
Is
into
it
the weeds.
though?
But
Because
no,
I feel like,
it could
because
happen.
you know, like the Hustle and Flow, like the first year of Hustle and Flow, if I'm not mistaken, you know, I don't want to. This is no shot because I think D
Should I
Smoke.
Google something?
I think D Smoke is incredible, but I'm not. If I'm not mistaken, Netflix paid part of his label deal, right? Like that was like the whole thing, or maybe I got it mixed up. Maybe the label, like it was like a deal with Netflix for like promo. So then they like, you know what I'm saying? They like exchanged money. I'm not saying that Hustle and Flow is funded by the major labels, but I know that it was like money changing hands to make that happen. Whereas with like American Idol or The Voice, they try to have like a claim to like the winner post win. So that's like why a lot of labels won't sign those people because it's like, their hands are in it. But like, if I'm not mistaken, Netflix ahead of time, it's like they had made. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a crazy conspiracy theory because this is how business works. You just exchange within industries. You know, like even with Spotify, it's like the majors own part of Spotify because Spotify is a tech company, and then with you know what I'm saying? Like with Disney, like them owning, I don't even want to get into that. That's like, cause I'm not talking conspiracies. I'm literally talking about the way that money is exchanged or like record labels having interest in movies and then being able to do like sync deals because they have like invested in the movie or I don't know. I just feel like that's the way that business works and people just maybe don't know it. So they're thinking like, oh, they're talking conspiracies, but I feel like that's just how it works. Like it would not surprise me at all if Suno was like, hey, Big Three, we want to sign this artist. We want an artist to be signed and make a major spectacle of it. Not only will we cash flow the signing, but we'll also cash flow the marketing, XYZ, da 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 da. You know, like this is like the definition of industry plant. I'm not saying this is what that is, but that's like industry plant, like how stuff works. And not that he is this, but this is like the Dominic Fike story. It's like homie was in jail, then he gets out of jail signing a label deal within a week. And it's like the rags to riches story is something that people really love. And I'm not going to go into the details there, but it's like, that's just how they just like, oh, it may not have been her that they're like, hey, let's pretend that you're broke down. But they're like searching for outliers and anomalies that they can volley to make a story make sense. You know what I'm saying? And maybe she was involved at the ground level, but who knows? I'm not speculating there. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me in any realm or world because we're
Yeah.
talking about dollars and cents and in an economy that only focuses on dollars and cents. Why would they just let this random thing happen? I don't see it happening because it's not. in my opinion, in your opinion, good enough to happen? I haven't heard any of it, but none of it makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen to or don't. I think listening
I'm not, but for
reveals.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. For the people watching this, I'm curious. I don't think we'll ever get the real story. Uh, we could. I'd like to have her on here just to talk to her about some of these things, but I'm sure she can't even speak on all of
You
them.
gonna reach out?
And well, actually, someone did on my behalf, and she said she wasn't ready for interviews, which makes sense. She seems like she wants to just maintain privacy. That's why she created this avatar, and that's another can of worms, right? Just create an avatar that might be that might unintentionally cause harm to people. I don't know. Um, I guess in the grand scheme of things, everything's causing harm to people, especially women, especially Black women. But here we are. So it'll be interesting to see if this can be duplicated, because so far this is the first AI artist that has actually resonated with people. Everything else has gotten a backlash. The one that the labels tried to create that wasn't even fully AI, major backlash. They scrapped it. Timbaland's AI artist that had all the publicity in the world from all the major publications couldn't break 2,000 followers on Instagram, even out of morbid curiosity, which is weird to me. That might be a conspiracy. Like, did someone tell Timbaland to chill? What happened there? Because Timbaland on his own could have gotten way more attention for the artist, especially given how everything was ramping up to the actual release. I was just surprised. So this is all surprising to me, and who the hell knows what's going on, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually, at least some of the information, but not all of it. I don't know. You think this is going to happen again? Like, more artists are going to, because Deezer has reported that about 1 in 3 of every song uploaded to streaming platforms is AI generated. Fully AI generated.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's getting crazy. And I don't know if that's like a real stat. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
That Deezer's report from September last month said approximately 28% of all daily music uploads are fully AI generated. So that's nearly 1/3. Obviously, that's an increase. They say about 30,000 AI tracks are being uploaded daily. That's a lot. So, it was only a matter of time before one of them caught on. And Xania Monet is the one. So anyway, speaking of uploading music to the streaming platforms, upload your music for free. Why pay for 3 months when there are all these AI artists taking up the space? So try it out first. Stake your claim your space. Go to tolost.com, use the code MEC, and you'll have 3 free months of premium music distribution. 3 free months of premium music distribution is a lot. That's a long time. You can upload a lot of songs, a lot of instrumentals, all types of stuff. Try it out. Use the code MEC on tolost.com. It helps us. It helps you. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Dame, for another episode. Peace.
See y'all.